This writing is entitled Dorothy Malott. Good friend, faithful servant of Christ for 80 plus years. Lover of her family, her church, and the Fairview Ladies' Aid. Cheerful in all weathers, never shirked a task. Splendid behavior. I'm going to quit reading and stop for just a second. That's written about Dorothy Malott. She was a person I'm going to call a good friend of mine. I didn't meet her until late in her life. I met her because I began going to the church where she went. After I met her, I discovered that her sister, a lady named Mary Martin, was my first grade teacher. And so we had that in common, as well as all the other things that I began to learn about her that caused me to like her and eventually love her. So I wrote that little line about her after she was gone, and that's not even, if I were going to publish that or try to capitalize on it in some way, I'd have to put some kind of a disclaimer with it, because part of that is very similar to what Woodrow F. Call carved in the grave marker for Joshua Dietz in the miniseries Lonesome Dove. I think I've told you before that Lonesome Dove is my favorite all-time movie of any kind. It was I don't know how many parts it was, maybe 6-part miniseries that aired in 1990 for the first time, and I've watched it lots of times, and still haven't managed to get through it without crying. But anyway, that part that I put there about Dorothy is a partial plagiarism of what Larry McMurtry wrote in his book, Lonesome Dove. I'm going to read again. There once was a house next door to the Fairview Church. The house was probably built in the early 1900s. Red Abner and his family were the last residents to live in this house. He was killed in an automobile accident, and his wife decided to sell the home and move her family. The church elders purchased the house and tore it down. The property where the house once stood is now the west parking lot. 3 wall cupboards have been built from the woodwork, door and window casings, salvaged from that house before it was razed. The first of these is the blue-green one with the tin door that hangs above the Colvin box in our family room. The second is the larger red one made in memory of Dorothy Malott for the 2014 Ladies' Aid Bazaar. I like this one a lot better than the bidders at the silent auction. And Shannon, my daughter, wanted it, but was short on funds. So I bought it back, and it currently hangs on the north family room wall. But when it is taken from the wall, it belongs to Shannon. It has the information about the Abner origins and a tribute to Dorothy inside the door. The third is a smaller red version made on contract for Charlotta Turner. Charlotta had bid on the Dorothy cupboard with the intent to gift it to Red Abner's daughter, Heidi, as a wedding present. When I heard this story, I agreed to make another cupboard. I'm going to stop again. I don't know, I'm probably going to do a piece about the Fairview Ladies Aid auctions. Actually, they're silent auctions. You build a piece, you take it out there, you set it on a table like this. You put a bid sheet there, and throughout the day, while they're having their bazaar in the fall, it's usually in November, people that are in there at like the churchyard sale, they look at the piece and they write down their name and agree to pay a certain price. And when you look at the bid sheet, if you like the piece better than the last person that bid on it, you write down your name and you write down a bigger price. And so that they do that every year, and every year just about since I've been going there, I have created some article for them to have a silent auction with at the Fairview Ladies Aid Bazaar. Sometimes more than one thing that I've created. And back when I was younger and a little more inclined and had more time to do so, I created some pretty elaborate, or not really elaborate, but some labor-intensive things that were pretty nice. And also at that time I had an antique booth. And so I would go there and eat the soup, had delicious homemade soup. The thing used to last all day. They've cut it down to now where it doesn't. But it used to last until 6 o'clock in the evening. I'd go there and our family would eat, and we'd look around at the things they had for sale, and then I'd go look at the silent auction things, and if there's something I wanted I might bid on it, and I'd look at my things. And if they weren't bringing what they should have been bringing, and according to what I thought, I'd just put some fictitious name on there and overbid whoever the last person was. And I hung around there and usually showed up just before closing time and checked it all out again. And, you know, I might have something in there that in my antique booth would bring $125, and somebody in the silent auction was buying it for $20. Well, this was something for the Ladies Aid to raise money. It didn't make any sense to me for me to put that kind of a thing there and bring $20, so I just bid $25 for it, and I'd take it, put it in my booth, sell it. When it's sold, then I'd give the money to the Ladies Aid, the surplus money. So instead of them getting $20 for something, they got $25 plus the rest, and you know, maybe they got $100. So I did that, and then I had fun doing it too. You know, it was always a kind of a fun deal. People would be, who is this person, and that kind of thing. And I didn't always do that. Sometimes you let them do it. Well, then we got a new preacher and his wife, and everybody just loves his wife to pieces. And she likes that kind of stuff. And she killed all hopes of anything bringing anything. I mean, even those tightwad ladies that wanted something and might have bid a little more for something, they wouldn't, if the preacher's wife was bidding on it, they wouldn't bid. No one would bid against her. And not even me. I wasn't going to run the preacher's wife up. So that kind of put a quietus on the Ladies Aid making big bucks off of my merchandise, and consequently I started making less elaborate pieces for the Ladies Aid auction. But that's just a little story that I threw in there to add to this. You notice that on this particular cabinet, I bought it back myself. I took it out there, I bought it myself. The Ladies Aid got the money. It was a pretty good price. It would have brought more in my booth, but it still was up there high enough that I wouldn't have bid it up, except for the fact that my daughter wanted it, and so I bought it. And then I heard this story that the lady that was bidding on it intended to give it to the young lady who's grew up next to the church in the Abner house. When I heard that story, I mean, what could I do? I went to her and I said, you know what, if I'd known you were doing that, I'd just let you bought that cabinet and give it to that girl. And she said, well, if you could make me another one, the wedding is such and such a time, it was maybe a week or two away. She said, that can still work out, and I'll pay you what I agreed to pay for the one that was at the Ladies' Aid. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And so I made a second cupboard. It's not just exactly like the first one, because I built the first one around a door that I already had. I didn't have another door like that. I had to make a new door for the second one, but they're very similar. You can tell the same person made them. They both are made from Abner House pieces, and so it's mentioned. They're both mentioned here. Did I stop in the middle? I think I did. Let me go ahead here. Okay. Reading again. It says, update. Additional cupboards were constructed. Wall cupboard made from Larkin soap box, and the green and white wall cupboard with the PieSafe 10 door were made using Abner House trim. Also, Heather has one with a 10 in it, like the one above the Colgan box. Heather, I should stop again and say, Heather, for those of you who don't know, is my middle daughter. Shannon's the oldest, Brett's the youngest, Heather is in the middle. And she has an Abner House piece that was made, it's a cupboard made from Abner House trim. It goes on to say, I'm reading again, the door was originally a wall hanging made as a birthday present. In other words, I made a 10 door and hand punched Heather's initials in it and gave it to her for her birthday. I later built the cupboard around the door because I sensed Heather was disappointed in her birthday present. She never said she was disappointed, merely my read on the matter. That's what I've written. I don't know whether Heather and I have discussed this since I wrote that or not. But one thing I want to make clear, and Heather is, she is a sweetheart. And she's very sensitive and doesn't always say what she's feeling if she feels like it might cause a problem or hurt your feelings. And I have been always a kidder. And no one is immune. If I, undertake to kid somebody and not let on that I'm kidding, make them think that I have serious issues, and they don't understand whether I'm kidding or not. I just really enjoy doing that. Whether that's good or bad. I don't do it as much as I once did, but good, bad, or indifferent, that's the way I've been. I'm confessing my shortcomings to you. And Heather, when she was a girl, this gave her some problems, till finally one day she sat me down. She was a teenager, and she said, Dad, I don't know when you're kidding and when you're not, and sometimes it's really hard for me because because I don't know. She said, I need some sort of thing between us. When you're kidding and when it's really bothering me, I can say, Dad, are you kidding me? Without you kidding me more. And so she and I agreed that whenever she was in distress because I was kidding her, she could hold up her hand and say, I need to evoke the serious dad clause. Are you kidding or not? And it's kind of a little joke we have, but it wasn't really a joke. It was a problem that I was creating for her that I didn't intend to create and didn't want to. But we made that agreement, and we still live by it today. She's a grown woman. I'm an old man, but if she needs the serious dad clause, it's there for her to say, I need to use the serious dad clause. And in this situation right here, I say it. I went ahead and took her door back, her birthday present back, and built a cabinet around it because I just thought that she got less of a birthday present than she wanted or expected. And she never indicated that to me. And maybe it didn't really happen. I just, in my mind, it happened. So she's got an Abner House cabinet built around a door that originally was her birthday present. I didn't even intend to put that part in this. So you guys that are out there watching the Hard Times Guy, you just got a bonus there.